Tim Walz is an American politician serving as the 41st governor of Minnesota since January 2019.
We can beat the Lions, right?
Yes.
What about, okay, this is a hard question.
All right, ready.
A member of the
What about the
Democratic
Packers?
Farmer
Let's hear it.
Labor Party, DFL, he was born on April 6, 1964, in West Point, Nebraska.
I just want to say thank you to everyone doing this.
Before becoming governor, Walz represented Minnesota's 1st congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives from 2007 to 2019. Walz is a retired high school teacher and former National Guard Command Sergeant Major, making him one of the highest-ranking military veterans to serve in Congress. His tenure as governor has focused on issues such as health care, education, infrastructure, and managing the state's response to the COVID-19 pandemics. Walz's tenure as governor of Minnesota demonstrates his executive experience and ability to manage state-level issues, which could complement Harris's federal experience.
When I was teaching at Mankato West, a group of students asked if I'd be willing to help them start the school's first gay-straight alliance. They were concerned about anti-LGBTQ bullying, and they wanted to do something about it. My answer was absolutely. As a
Military
teacher,
background. His service in the National Guard adds a layer of military experience and veteran advocacy. Midwestern appeal. As a governor from the Midwest, Walz could help attract voters in key swing states in the region, potentially balancing the ticket geographically. Bipartisan reputation. Known for his pragmatic approach and ability to work across party lines, Walz could appeal to moderate and independent voters. Focus on key issues. Walz's work on healthcare, education, and infrastructure aligns with many Democratic priorities, potentially strengthening the campaign's platform on these issues.
When you have something like this, I'm going to thank the emergency management team, and Minnesota is unfortunately good at this, especially around flooding, because we usually have it. This is unusual in that we usually get it from the snow. And like
Tim Walz has been a strong supporter of LGBTQ+ rights throughout his political career. Here are some key points highlighting his support.
themselves. We've made Minnesota a more welcoming.
As a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, Walz supported various pieces of legislation aimed at protecting and advancing LGBTQ+ rights, including the Employment Non-Discrimination Act and the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
We're putting bullies in their place, sending the clear message that the LGBT community is very much a part of the fabric of our state. Minnesota will stay in the business of protecting
Executive actions.
fundamental rights.
As governor of
for all.
Minnesota, Walz has
When I was
continued to
teaching at
advocate
Mankato
for
West, a group-
LGBTQ+ rights. He signed an
All right,
executive
ready.
order to
Whoa,
protect
wait a minute.
LGBTQ+ youth from conversion therapy, making Minnesota one of the states taking a firm stance against this harmful practice. Pride participation. Walz has actively participated in LGBTQ+ events, such as pride parades and celebrations, demonstrating his solidarity with the community.
There, that's better.
Inclusive policies. His administration has worked to ensure that state policies are inclusive of LGBTQ+ individuals, including efforts to improve healthcare access and anti-discrimination protections.
But it's bad politics for me. I'm not a hockey guy. I'm a football guy, and I like to go on offense. So I said, we're not going to play defense. We're not going to be satisfied for saying, oh, Minnesota will never be a right-to-work state. Well, that's a given. What Minnesota was going to do is strengthen our right to collectively bargain. So we got to work. I know.
Whether it be child tax credits, whether it be help in childcare, whether it be some of these opportunities, and many of these things very bipartisan to strengthen families, strengthen those early years for children, strengthen and give powers back to the communities that know best, we make a difference. So I'm just going to congratulate. This is truly how legislation should be built. This came from the community. It came from legislative leaders. It came with support across a spectrum of folks to get to the point where we put this into law, all with the goal of something very simple: strengthening families and making children are cared for in the best way. That's a beautiful thing. So I just want to say thank you to everyone doing this, and I think as Minnesotans, and I'm going to thank these folks that are here. We know the statistics that come out about Minnesota, that we rank very high in many categories, but the gaps still exist. This is a group over the last several years in a bipartisan manner that said it's no longer good enough to admire problems, find solutions and fix them. And so this group is starting to say, how do we start shrinking those gaps, whether it be home ownership or educational attainment or personal wealth? And this is a piece of that starting with.
As we look toward the future of our nation, Tim Walz emerges as a beacon of hope and unity. His qualifications make him an ideal running mate for Kamala Harris.